kindness is often celebrated as a virtue, a beacon of goodness that can uplift others and create a more compassionate world. But what if I told you that kindness, when given excessively and without boundaries, can actually enable negative behavior in others? Imagine you have a friend who constantly makes poor financial decisions. Every time they run out of money, they come to you for help. Out of kindness, you lend them the money they need. This seems like the right thing to do, doesn't it? But in reality, your constant assistance is enabling their negative behavior. Pinpoint 1. Lack of consequences. By bailing them out, you remove the natural consequences of their actions. They never feel the full impact of their decisions and therefore never learn from their mistakes. Your kindness, in this case, becomes a crutch, preventing them from growing and taking responsibility for their actions. Kindness without accountability can create a cycle of dependency. The person you're helping may come to rely on your generosity instead of finding ways to solve their own problems. This not only hinders their personal growth but can also strain your resources and well-being. Pinpoint 2. Reinforcing negative patterns. When you constantly rescue someone from the consequences of their actions, you unintentionally reinforce their negative behavior. They may start to believe that no matter what they do, someone will always be there to save them. This can lead to a lack of motivation to change and improve their situation. Your kindness can also create a sense of entitlement. The person may begin to expect your help as a given, rather than appreciating it as a gesture of goodwill. This entitlement can strain your relationship, leading to resentment and frustration on both sides. Pinpoint 3. Impact on your well-being. Excessive kindness can take a toll on your mental and emotional health. Constantly putting others' needs before your own can lead to burnout and stress. It's important to remember that you have a right to set boundaries and take care of your own well-being. To prevent enabling negative behavior, it's crucial to practice kindness with wisdom and boundaries. This means sometimes allowing others to face the consequences of their actions, even if it's difficult. Encourage them to find solutions and support them in their efforts to change, rather than simply rescuing them. Pinpoint 4. Empowering rather than enabling. True kindness empowers others to grow and become self-sufficient. It involves offering support and encouragement while also fostering independence and accountability. By doing so, you help others build resilience and develop healthier habits. In conclusion, while kindness is a beautiful and essential virtue, it's important to balance it with wisdom and discernment. By setting healthy boundaries and encouraging personal responsibility, you can ensure that your kindness truly benefits others without enabling negative behavior. Here is another point: mindfulness practices. Kindness is a powerful and admirable trait. It can create bonds, spread joy, and foster community. But when misplaced or overextended, it can also attract those who seek to take advantage of your generosity. Let's delve into how this exploitation happens and the subtle signs to watch out for. First, understand that not everyone has pure intentions. Some individuals see kindness as a weakness, a chance to exploit someone's good nature for their own benefit. These people may appear friendly and appreciative, but their true goal is to use your kindness to their advantage. Be wary of constant requests for help, especially when these requests become more demanding or unreasonable over time. If someone frequently asks for favors, money, or your time without offering anything in return, it's a red flag. They may be exploiting your kindness, relying on your reluctance to say no. Notice how you feel when responding to these requests. Do you feel obligated or pressured to say yes? Are you afraid of disappointing the other person? Exploiters often play on these emotions, knowing that kind-hearted individuals find it difficult to refuse. Balance is key. Kindness should not come at the expense of your own well-being. Reflect on your boundaries and practice saying no when necessary. This isn't about being unkind, it's about ensuring your kindness is genuine and sustainable. Healthy relationships are based on mutual respect and support. Evaluate your relationships. Are they reciprocal? Do you feel valued and appreciated? Ensuring that your kindness is part of a two-way street will help protect you from exploitation. Finally, take time to reflect on your actions and intentions. Are you being kind out of genuine desire, or are you seeking approval or avoiding conflict? Self-awareness will empower you to act from a place of strength rather than vulnerability. At first glance, being consistently kind seems like a noble path. You're always there for friends, family, and even strangers. You offer support, lend a listening ear, and go out of your way to make others happy. But beneath this generous exterior, a problem can quietly grow: the neglect of your own needs. When you're always putting others first, you might start to notice signs of emotional burnout. It becomes difficult to find time for yourself. The constant demands from others can drain your energy and leave you feeling exhausted. This is because every act of kindness requires emotional resources that need to be replenished. Physical health can also suffer. You might skip meals, lose sleep, or neglect exercise because you're too busy helping others. Over time, this can lead to serious health issues, from chronic fatigue to more severe conditions. Personal growth and hobbies often take a back seat. You might stop pursuing activities that you love because you feel guilty taking time for yourself. This can lead to a loss of identity and a sense of unfulfillment. Your own passions and dreams become sidelined. Setting boundaries becomes a challenge. You find it hard to say no, fearing that you'll disappoint others or be seen as selfish. This can lead to resentment and frustration, both towards others and yourself. It's important to remember that healthy boundaries are essential for sustainable kindness. Moreover, neglecting personal needs can undermine your sense of self-worth. When you constantly prioritize others, you might start to feel like your own needs are less important. This can affect your self-esteem and overall mental health. So how can you balance kindness with self-care? Start by acknowledging your own needs. It's not selfish to take time for yourself, it's necessary. Practice saying no when you need to, and don't feel guilty about it. Remember, you can't pour from an empty cup. By taking care of yourself, you ensure that you can continue to be kind without sacrificing your well-being. So how can you balance kindness with self-care? Start by acknowledging your own needs. It's not selfish to take time for yourself, it's necessary. Practice saying no when you need to, and don't feel guilty about it. Remember, you can't pour from an empty cup. By taking care of yourself, you ensure that you can continue to be kind without sacrificing your well-being. Kindness is a beautiful trait, one that we often strive to embody in our daily lives. It forms the foundation of our relationships, fosters community, and promotes a sense of belonging. However, when kindness is given without limits, it can lead to emotional burnout. Emotional burnout is a state of chronic emotional exhaustion, often accompanied by feelings of detachment and a reduced sense of accomplishment. Here's how unbridled kindness can pave the way to this debilitating state. Firstly, when you're constantly focused on helping others, you may begin to neglect your own needs. This self-neglect can lead to physical and mental exhaustion. Picture yourself as a well. If you keep drawing water without replenishing it, eventually it runs dry. It's crucial to balance giving with taking time for self-care. Remember, you can't pour from an empty cup. Secondly, constantly being there for others can be emotionally draining. Empathy fatigue sets in when you're so attuned to others' emotions that you absorb their stress and sadness. This emotional toll can leave you feeling depleted and unable to manage your own emotions. Setting emotional boundaries helps maintain your well-being. It's okay to step back and recharge your emotional batteries. Thirdly, perpetual kindness can create unrealistic expectations. When people come to expect your constant support, the pressure can become overwhelming. You might feel compelled to always be available, even when you're running on empty. Communicate your limits clearly. It's important for those around you to understand that you need time for yourself too. Fourth, always putting others first can lead to a loss of self-identity. You might begin to define yourself solely by your ability to help others, losing sight of your own passions and interests. Reconnect with your interests and passions. They are a vital part of who you are. Finally, without proper boundaries, kindness can lead to resentment and frustration. You may start to feel unappreciated and taken for granted, which can breed bitterness and strain your relationships. It's important to recognize when you're feeling this way and to address it. Open communication with those around you can help alleviate these feelings. Kindness is a beautiful trait, one that enriches both the giver and the receiver. However, when taken to the extreme, it can have unintended consequences. One of the most profound impacts is the erosion of one's self-identity. Imagine constantly prioritizing others' needs over your own. You might begin to neglect your personal desires, passions, and even your core values. This self-sacrifice, while noble in moderation, can become detrimental when it becomes a constant practice. The need to be kind and helpful can lead to an automatic yes response to others' requests. Over time, this habitual acquiescence can blur the lines between your true self and the persona you adopt to please others. Your schedule becomes packed with activities that serve others, leaving little to no time for your own pursuits. Hobbies, dreams, and personal growth take a back seat. As your identity becomes enmeshed with being a caregiver or helper, you might find it challenging to recognize what truly makes you happy. This loss of self-identity is not just about time management. It's about the slow erosion of understanding who you are outside of your kindness. When your sense of self is heavily tied to others' validation and approval, you may begin to question your worth when it's not forthcoming. The transformation can be subtle. Over time, you may notice a change in your demeanor, a shift in your energy levels, and a dwindling sense of purpose. The activities and interests that once defined you fade into the background, replaced by an overwhelming need to serve others. So how can you recognize and reclaim your self-identity? Start by setting clear boundaries. Learn to say no without guilt. It's important to remember that taking care of yourself is not selfish, it's essential. Reconnect with your passions. Dedicate time each week to activities that bring you joy and fulfillment. This not only rejuvenates your spirit but also strengthens your sense of self. Reflect on your values and goals. Journaling can be a powerful tool to rediscover your inner desires and to clarify what truly matters to you. Engage in mindfulness or meditation practices. These can help you stay grounded and maintain a clear sense of who you are amidst the noise of daily obligations. By balancing kindness with self-care, you can maintain healthy relationships while preserving your self-identity. Remember, being kind to yourself is the first step in being truly kind to others. When overextended, it can lead to unforeseen consequences. Today, we'll explore one such consequence: unfair expectations. When you're consistently kind, people start to see you as the go-to person for help and support. This can quickly evolve into an expectation that you'll always be available to assist, no matter what. The initial appreciation you receive for your kindness can turn into a demanding burden. Imagine this: your phone never stops buzzing with requests for favors, advice, and support. At first, it feels good to be needed, but soon, the volume of requests becomes overwhelming. You start to realize that people aren't just appreciating your kindness, they're relying on it. These unfair expectations can lead to significant stress and anxiety. You feel pressured to live up to the role others have assigned to you, even if it means sacrificing your own time, energy, and well-being. The constant demands can also make it difficult to say no. You might worry about disappointing others or damaging relationships. This fear of letting people down can trap you in a cycle of overcommitment and burnout. As you prioritize others' needs over your own, you might find yourself missing out on important personal activities and milestones. The hobbies you love, the rest you need, and the personal goals you want to achieve all take a back seat. Over time, this can lead to feelings of resentment. You may start to feel that your kindness is being taken for granted. The joy you once found in helping others is replaced by frustration and exhaustion. To counteract these unfair expectations, it's essential to set clear boundaries. Let people know that while you care and are willing to help, you also have your own needs and limits. This doesn't make you less kind, it makes you wise and self-aware. By establishing boundaries, you protect your well-being and ensure that your kindness remains genuine and sustainable. You can continue to help others without sacrificing your own happiness and health. Imagine you're always willing to lend a hand. Whether it's at work, at home, or with friends, you're the go-to person for support. While this kindness is admirable, it can come with unexpected challenges. One of the most significant challenges is setting boundaries. When you're constantly giving, people might start to see you as someone who never says no. This can lead to them pushing your limits, sometimes without even realizing it. Over time, you may find yourself overwhelmed with requests and responsibilities. You might feel a growing sense of frustration or even resentment because you're always putting others first. Let's break this down further. First, understand that boundaries are essential for maintaining healthy relationships and personal well-being. They help you protect your time, energy, and emotional health. When you're overly kind, people may assume you're always available. Your calendar can quickly fill up, leaving you little time for self-care or your own priorities. This lack of boundaries can lead to burnout. But why is it so hard to say no? Often it's because we fear disappointing others or being perceived as selfish. The Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius reminds us that we must remain true to our own nature and not let external pressures dictate our actions. Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This teaches us that it's okay to prioritize our needs and set boundaries, despite what others may think. So, how can we start setting boundaries effectively? Here are a few steps you can take. First, recognize your limits. Understand what you can reasonably handle without sacrificing your well-being. Second, communicate clearly. When someone asks for your help and you're at capacity, it's perfectly acceptable to say, "I'm sorry, I can't help with that right now." Practice assertiveness. This doesn't mean being rude or dismissive. It's about being honest and firm about your limits. Remember, assertiveness is a skill that gets better with practice. Lastly, prioritize self-care. Make time for activities that rejuvenate you. When you take care of yourself, you're in a better position to help others without feeling depleted. In conclusion, while kindness is a virtue, it's essential to balance it with self-respect and boundaries. By doing so, you can continue to help others without compromising your own well-being. When you consistently extend kindness to others, it's natural to hope for some form of appreciation or reciprocation. Unfortunately, this isn't always the case. Let's break down how this lack of reciprocity can affect you. First, let's talk about emotional burnout. Constantly giving without receiving can lead to feelings of frustration and exhaustion. You might find yourself feeling unappreciated, which can drain your emotional energy and leave you feeling resentful. Secondly, lack of reciprocity can foster resentment and bitterness. When your acts of kindness go unnoticed or unappreciated, it can lead to negative emotions towards those you've helped. This can damage your relationships and alter your perception of others. Moreover, it erodes trust. When kindness isn't reciprocated, you might begin to feel that people are taking advantage of you. This can make you wary of helping others in the future, ultimately diminishing your capacity to trust and connect with people. Another significant impact is the potential decrease in self-worth. Constantly giving without receiving can make you question your value. You might start to wonder if your efforts are worth anything, leading to a diminished sense of self-esteem. Finally, it creates imbalanced relationships. Healthy relationships are built on mutual support and respect. When kindness flows only one way, it creates an imbalance that can strain and ultimately break the relationship. So, what can you do? It's important to set boundaries and recognize when your kindness is not being reciprocated. Practice self-care and ensure that your acts of kindness do not come at the expense of your own well-being. Remember, true kindness includes being kind to yourself as well. Kindness is a virtue celebrated by many philosophies, including Stoicism, which encourages us to be generous and helpful. However, when kindness is not balanced with wisdom and discernment, it can lead to unintended consequences. One of these consequences is enabling dependency. Dependency occurs when someone relies excessively on others for support or assistance instead of developing their own skills and resources. While helping others is commendable, it's crucial to recognize when our kindness might be fostering reliance rather than resilience. Imagine you have a friend who constantly asks for your help with tasks they could potentially do themselves. At first, it feels good to be there for them. But over time, you notice they haven't made any effort to learn or grow. Instead, they've become more reliant on you. This cycle of dependency can be harmful for both parties. For the person receiving help, it stunts their personal development and problem-solving abilities. They miss out on the confidence and competence that comes from overcoming challenges independently. For you, the helper, it can lead to feelings of frustration and resentment. You might feel overwhelmed by the constant demands on your time and energy, and your own needs and responsibilities might start to take a backseat. From a Stoic perspective, as advocated by Marcus Aurelius, it's important to help others in ways that empower them rather than making them dependent. Stoicism teaches us to act with virtue, wisdom, and moderation. This means offering support that encourages self-reliance and personal growth. Instead of doing things for others, consider guiding them to find their own solutions. Offer advice, share knowledge, and provide encouragement, but resist the urge to take over completely. This approach helps build their confidence and skills. Another key aspect is setting healthy boundaries. It's okay to say no sometimes. Boundaries are essential for maintaining your well-being and ensuring that your kindness doesn't lead to burnout or resentment. Explain your reasons kindly and suggest alternatives that encourage independence. For example, instead of repeatedly fixing a problem for someone, show them how to fix it themselves. This empowers them and frees you from the cycle of dependency. Ultimately, true kindness is about fostering growth and resilience. When we help others develop their capabilities, we contribute to their long-term well-being and success. They learn to stand on their own, and we can take satisfaction in knowing that our kindness has had a lasting positive impact. So, the next time you offer help, think about how you can do so in a way that encourages independence and growth. When kindness becomes synonymous with weakness, respect can wane. Others may perceive your acts of goodwill not as genuine gestures, but as vulnerabilities to exploit. Repeated instances of exploitation erode the foundation of respect, leaving one feeling undervalued and disheartened. The once endearing qualities of kindness now serve as ammunition for manipulation. Yet, the dilemma persists. How does one maintain their benevolent nature while safeguarding their dignity? It's a conundrum that echoes through the annals of Stoic philosophy. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic philosopher-emperor, implored the virtue of kindness tempered with discernment. He reminds us that true strength lies not in blind generosity, but in the judicious application of compassion. By establishing boundaries and cultivating assertiveness, one can navigate the intricacies of human interaction with grace and integrity. It's a delicate dance, requiring steadfast resolve and unwavering self-awareness. In the tapestry of life, kindness should be a thread that binds us together, not a shackle that diminishes our worth. Let us heed the wisdom of the ancients and embrace kindness with discernment, for therein lies the path to true respect. Undermining authority. At its core, kindness can inadvertently erode the foundations of authority. When kindness knows no bounds, it can blur the lines between leader and follower, mentor and mentee. Leaders who prioritize kindness above all else may find themselves exploited by those they lead. Their leniency mistaken for weakness, their boundaries easily crossed. In educational settings, excessive kindness can hinder the establishment of respect and discipline. Students may perceive the teacher's kindness as permission to disregard rules and disrupt learning. In the workplace, leaders faced with difficult choices may falter if their kindness outweighs their sense of authority. Decisions may be delayed or compromised, leading to inefficiency and discord. Moreover, when kindness becomes the cornerstone of professional relationships, it can obscure the boundaries necessary for effective teamwork. Colleagues may take advantage of each other's goodwill, leading to resentment and conflict. Yet, it's not an indictment of kindness itself, but a call for balance. True leadership requires a blend of compassion and firmness, kindness tempered by wisdom. When kindness turns into an unexamined habit, it can lead us down a path where our integrity is compromised. Today we'll explore how being overly kind can affect our core values and principles. Imagine a scenario where you're constantly saying yes to others. You offer help, support, and resources, even when it's inconvenient or against your better judgment. At first, this might seem harmless, commendable, even. But let's delve deeper. Every time you say yes when you want to say no, you chip away at your integrity. Integrity is about staying true to your values, principles, and beliefs. It's about doing what's right, even when it's difficult. When we prioritize others' needs over our own values, we compromise this fundamental part of ourselves. Consider a situation where a friend asks for a favor that conflicts with your ethical standards. Out of kindness, you agree, telling yourself it's just this once. But each just this once adds up, creating a pattern where your boundaries are blurred and your principles are sacrificed. This pattern can lead to a loss of self-respect. You start to feel resentful, not just towards others, but towards yourself for not standing up for what you believe in. Your internal dialogue becomes fraught with guilt and self-doubt. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic philosopher, emphasized the importance of living in accordance with one's principles. He believed that true happiness and fulfillment come from inner virtue and integrity, not external approval. When kindness leads us to act against our values, we move away from this Stoic ideal. So, how do we balance kindness and integrity? It starts with self-awareness. Regularly reflect on your actions and motivations. Ask yourself, am I being kind out of genuine compassion, or am I seeking approval at the cost of my values? Learn to say no with grace. Setting boundaries doesn't make you unkind, it makes you honest and authentic. It shows that you respect yourself and others enough to act with integrity. Over time, this will earn you genuine respect and trust. Surround yourself with people who respect your boundaries and values. Healthy relationships are built on mutual respect and understanding, not on constant compromise and self-sacrifice. Kindness is a virtue that most of us strive to embody. It helps build strong relationships, fosters a sense of community, and creates a more compassionate world. However, when kindness becomes excessive, it can have detrimental effects on our mental health, particularly increasing our stress and anxiety levels. One of the primary ways excessive kindness can lead to stress is by overloading us with responsibilities. When we constantly say yes to helping others, we may find ourselves overwhelmed with tasks and commitments. This can leave us with little to no time for ourselves, leading to chronic stress. Imagine your schedule is already packed, yet you agree to take on more because you don't want to disappoint anyone. This constant pressure to meet everyone's expectations can cause immense stress. Over time, the inability to manage your time effectively can lead to feelings of being overwhelmed and anxious. Excessive kindness often means prioritizing others' needs over your own. This can result in neglecting your self-care. Lack of sleep, poor nutrition, and no time for relaxation or hobbies can quickly deteriorate your mental health. The constant cycle of giving without replenishing your own energy reserves creates a fertile ground for anxiety to flourish. Another aspect to consider is the emotional toll of always being the go-to person for help. The expectation to solve everyone's problems can be emotionally draining. When people continuously lean on you, it can lead to compassion fatigue, where you feel exhausted from caring too much. Moreover, the fear of letting others down can lead to a constant state of worry and guilt. You might find yourself stressing over whether you've done enough or if your help was satisfactory. This constant self-doubt and fear of judgment can significantly contribute to anxiety. It's crucial to recognize that while kindness is important, it should not come at the cost of your well-being. Learning to set healthy boundaries is essential. By saying no when necessary, you can protect your time and energy, reducing stress and preventing anxiety. Setting boundaries doesn't make you less kind, it makes your kindness sustainable. When you take care of yourself first, you can offer genuine and wholehearted support to others without burning out. Imagine always being the one who listens, helps, and supports others. It sounds noble, doesn't it? But when kindness becomes a habit of putting others' needs before your own, it can start to take a toll on your social life. Constantly being the giver can sometimes lead to feelings of being taken for granted. When you're always there for others, they might begin to see you as a resource rather than a friend. This can result in superficial relationships where your own emotional needs are overlooked. Moreover, people may start reaching out to you only when they need something, creating a transactional dynamic. This can lead to loneliness, as genuine connections are replaced by utilitarian interactions. Over time, you might find yourself isolated, despite being surrounded by people. Another aspect is the burden of unspoken expectations. When you're consistently kind, others might expect you to always be available, always supportive, and never in need of help yourself. This can create a one-sided relationship where you feel compelled to maintain the facade of perpetual kindness, even at the cost of your own well-being. Overextending kindness can also lead to internal conflict. You may begin to resent the very people you're helping, feeling unappreciated and undervalued. This internal struggle can push you further into isolation as you withdraw to protect yourself from being hurt. The Stoic philosophy, particularly the teachings of Marcus Aurelius, reminds us that moderation is key. While kindness is a strength, it must be balanced with self-care and assertiveness. By setting boundaries and prioritizing genuine connections, you can avoid the pitfalls of social isolation. Remember, true kindness starts with kindness to oneself. It's essential to nurture relationships that are reciprocal, where your needs are met as much as you meet others. This balance not only preserves your mental and emotional health, but also enriches your social life. Picture this: you're at your desk, working on an important project with a tight deadline. Suddenly, a colleague asks for your help. Being the kind person you are, you put aside your work to assist them. While helping others is noble, it can significantly reduce your productivity. Every interruption pulls you away from your tasks, causing delays and breaking your concentration. These frequent disruptions mean your own work starts to pile up. Projects that could have been completed efficiently now stretch out over longer periods. This constant switching between tasks also hampers your focus. According to research, it takes about 23 minutes to regain full concentration after an interruption. Imagine the cumulative effect of multiple interruptions throughout the day. As a result, you may find yourself working longer hours to catch up, leading to fatigue and decreased overall effectiveness. Excessive kindness in the workplace can tip the balance, prioritizing others' needs over your own responsibilities. While it's important to be helpful, it's equally crucial to set boundaries. Learning to say no when necessary is not about being unkind. It's about recognizing the importance of your own work and time. By setting clear boundaries, you can maintain productivity without compromising your willingness to help. By managing your time effectively and setting boundaries, you can help others without sacrificing your productivity. It's all about finding a balance that works for you. The Stoics, including the renowned philosopher Marcus Aurelius, emphasized the importance of facing life's challenges with courage and wisdom. They believed that avoiding conflict at all costs can lead to unforeseen consequences. Let's explore this idea in depth. Picture this: you're at work, and your colleague consistently assigns you extra tasks. You're known for your kindness and willingness to help. However, instead of addressing the unfair workload, you choose to avoid confrontation, thinking it will maintain harmony. Initially, this might seem like the kindest approach, but what are the real effects? By avoiding conflict, you enable your colleagues' behavior, allowing them to exploit your kindness. This creates an imbalance and can lead to feelings of resentment and burnout. According to Stoic philosophy, avoiding necessary conflict is akin to avoiding reality. Marcus Aurelius taught that we should face challenges head-on with reason and courage. By doing so, we cultivate inner strength and resilience. Consider the alternative. By addressing the issue directly but kindly, you set clear boundaries. This not only prevents further exploitation but also fosters respect and mutual understanding. Assertive communication is a key skill here. It's about being firm yet respectful. Reflecting on our actions and their impacts is essential. When we avoid conflict, we deny ourselves and others the opportunity for growth and improvement. Marcus Aurelius often reflected in his meditations, urging himself to act with virtue and integrity, even in the face of adversity. Addressing conflicts can be empowering. It builds confidence and reinforces a sense of self-worth. Remember, kindness should not come at the expense of your own well-being. True kindness includes being kind to yourself. Let's take inspiration from Marcus Aurelius. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. In other words, obstacles, including conflicts, are opportunities for growth. By facing them, we turn challenges into strengths. Imagine you have a friend who is always in need. At first, you offer a helping hand, happy to be there for them. You assist with their errands, provide emotional support, and maybe even help them financially. It feels good to be needed, and your friend appreciates you. But as time goes on, you notice something. Your friend starts relying on you for almost everything. They turn to you at the first sign of trouble, expecting you to solve their problems. What started as occasional support has now become a constant obligation. This is where kindness can create dependency. Instead of empowering your friend to overcome their challenges, your continuous support has made them dependent on you. They haven't developed the resilience or problem-solving skills they need because they always have you to lean on. But how can we avoid creating dependency while still being kind? The key lies in setting healthy boundaries and encouraging self-sufficiency. Here are some strategies to consider. First, encourage problem-solving. Instead of immediately jumping in to help, ask guiding questions. What do you think you should do, or have you tried this approach? This encourages them to think critically and find solutions on their own. Second, offer support, not solutions. Be there to listen and provide emotional support, but resist the urge to fix everything. Sometimes just knowing someone believes in them can be enough to boost their confidence. Third, set clear boundaries. It's okay to say no when you're overwhelmed. Explain that while you care about them, you also need to take care of yourself. Healthy boundaries ensure that your kindness doesn't become a source of personal burnout. Fourth, foster independence. Encourage them to take small steps towards self-reliance. Celebrate their successes and remind them of their capabilities. This helps build their confidence and reduces their reliance on you. By implementing these strategies, you can maintain your kindness without creating dependency. You'll help others grow stronger and more resilient, while also preserving your own well-being. Remember, true kindness empowers others to stand on their own. Have you ever found yourself in a situation where you gave money to help someone, only to realize later that you're struggling to make ends meet? This is a common issue for many who are naturally kind-hearted and generous. Being overly generous can lead to a habit of always saying yes to financial requests. Friends and family might come to rely on your generosity, expecting you to bail them out whenever they're in need. While your intentions are good, this can quickly become a financial burden. When you're constantly giving money away, it can be challenging to manage your own finances. Bills start to pile up, savings dwindle, and before you know it, you're facing financial difficulties of your own. The stress and anxiety of not being able to meet your own financial obligations can be overwhelming. It's important to remember that financial well-being is crucial for your overall stability and peace of mind. Being kind doesn't mean putting yourself in a difficult position. There's a fine line between helping others and enabling their dependency on your generosity. Learning to say no is a powerful skill. It doesn't make you any less kind or generous. In fact, it shows that you value your own financial health and are setting healthy boundaries. By doing so, you ensure that your kindness is sustainable and doesn't come at the expense of your own well-being. Communicate openly with those around you. Explain your situation and set clear expectations. Most people will understand and respect your honesty. This not only protects you from financial strain but also teaches others to be more self-reliant. By managing your finances wisely, you can create a stable foundation that allows you to help others without compromising your own security. Budgeting and saving are essential tools in maintaining this balance. When we prioritize kindness over honest communication, we might agree to things we don't fully support. This can lead to misunderstandings. For instance, imagine saying yes to a request just to avoid hurting someone's feelings, even though you can't commit. The other person believes you're on board, but in reality you're not. This discrepancy sets the stage for future conflicts and disappointments. Excessive kindness can also blur the lines of sincerity. When we're overly agreeable or accommodating, others might start to question our motives. Are we being genuine, or just saying what they want to hear? This doubt can erode trust, the very foundation of effective communication. Setting boundaries is another area where kindness can backfire. We might avoid saying no to avoid conflict or disappointment. However, this can lead to overcommitment and stress, eventually causing us to break promises or fail to meet expectations. The resulting miscommunication can strain relationships and damage our credibility. Unspoken feelings are another pitfall. In our quest to be kind, we might hide our true emotions, leading others to misunderstand our needs and desires. This gap between what we feel and what we express can create a rift in our interactions, leaving both parties frustrated and disconnected. So how can we navigate this delicate balance? The key lies in mindful communication. Here are some tips to avoid miscommunication while maintaining kindness. First, practice honesty with empathy. Share your true thoughts and feelings, but do so with compassion and consideration. Second, be clear and direct. Avoid ambiguous language that can be misinterpreted. Third, listen actively. Ensure you understand the other person's perspective before responding. Fourth, set and communicate boundaries. It's possible to say no kindly and assertively. Finally, seek feedback. Encourage open dialogue to ensure your message is received as intended. Welcome to our discussion on the hidden dangers of kindness, inspired by the wisdom of Marcus Aurelius and the principles of Stoicism. Let's dive into how being too kind can sometimes lead to relationships that are more harmful than beneficial. Scene 1. Introduction. Kindness is a virtue, a trait that can foster love, understanding, and connection. However, when kindness is given without boundaries, it can become a double-edged sword. It's essential to recognize when your kindness is contributing to an unhealthy relationship dynamic. Scene 2. Identifying unhealthy relationships. Unhealthy relationships can often be identified by several key characteristics. Imbalance of effort in these relationships. One person is consistently putting in more effort than the other. Your kindness leads you to constantly give, while the other person takes without reciprocating. Emotional drain. You feel emotionally exhausted because you're always prioritizing their needs over your own. This emotional drain can lead to burnout and resentment. Lack of boundaries. Unhealthy relationships often lack clear boundaries. Your kindness makes it difficult to say no, and the other person takes advantage of this, overstepping your limits. Scene 3. The impact of excessive kindness. Excessive kindness can have several negative effects on your relationships. 1. Dependence. The other person may become overly dependent on you, expecting you to solve their problems and cater to their needs, which stifles their growth and independence. 2. Reduced self-worth. Constantly giving without receiving can diminish your self-esteem. You may start to feel that your value is only in what you can provide, not in who you are. 3. Manipulation. Some individuals may manipulate your kindness for their benefit. They might use guilt or emotional blackmail to keep you giving, knowing you find it hard to refuse. Scene 4. How to balance kindness and self-respect. So how can you maintain your kindness while ensuring your relationships remain healthy? Excessive kindness can have several negative effects on your relationships. 1. Dependence. The other person may become overly dependent on you, expecting you to solve their problems and cater to their needs, which stifles their growth and independence. 2. Reduced self-worth. Constantly giving without receiving can diminish your self-esteem. You may start to feel that your value is only in what you can provide, not in who you are. 3. Manipulation. Some individuals may manipulate your kindness for their benefit. They might use guilt or emotional blackmail to keep you giving, knowing you find it hard to refuse. Scene 4. How to balance kindness and self-respect. So how can you maintain your kindness while ensuring your relationships remain healthy? 1. Set clear boundaries. Establish and communicate your limits. It's okay to say no. Boundaries protect your well-being and help others respect you more. 2. Practice self-care. Prioritize your own needs and well-being. Remember, you can't pour from an empty cup. Taking care of yourself allows you to give more genuinely. 3. Seek reciprocity. Healthy relationships are based on mutual give and take. Ensure that your kindness is reciprocated and you're receiving support and care in return. 4. Stay true to your values. Don't compromise your principles to please others. Authenticity and integrity should be at the core of your kindness. Kindness is a beautiful trait, but it must be balanced with self-respect and wisdom. By setting boundaries, practicing self-care, and ensuring reciprocity, you can foster healthier, more fulfilling relationships. Thank you for joining us in this exploration of how kindness can sometimes lead to unhealthy relationships. Remember, true kindness starts with being kind to yourself. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more insights. Stay kind, but don't forget to take care of yourself too.